Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. A little something different today. Instead of seeing the wall of my apartment, you guys are looking outside over an area of Japan on the island of Kyushu. All right, so let's talk about rectifying those GMT Master 2 problems after the overhaul. Okay, so to catch you guys up to speed, basically I took a GMT Master 2 in for a service, came back perfectly happy with everything except for two aspects. The first was the bezel didn't line up to the 12-hour marker perfectly. Okay, the second thing was it was running 5 seconds fast, which is in COSC standards, but not good enough, I think, for a watch that has just been overhauled. Okay, so I'd mentioned I might have to get nasty to them. All right, and I am unfortunately have to say that I had to turn the NAST to about 40%. Okay, not all the way to 100, but yeah, I had to get a bit snippy with them. All right, let me tell you what happened. So, all right, brought the watch in. Okay, and the woman behind the front desk looked at it. Okay, she took it to the back. While she was doing that, I waited. I put on my blue Mako, set my blue Mako, and she came out. And the first thing she talked about was the fact that it was running fast. And she basically said, you know, we can try to work on it, but there's a chance that it'll then start running slow. That you know will I guess overcompensate, and it might go to -1 or -2. So it was sort of like, we might make it worse. Are you sure you're not happy with it the way it is, kind of thing? And you know, the conversation lasted for about a minute, and I asked her. I said, "You guys use computers for these regulations, don't you?" And it's funny because when I brought up the computer thing, she shut up. She piped down, and it was almost like checkmate. She knew that I kind of had her. Like, you know, it's not like they set it and wait 24 hours and check it and all that stuff. I mean, they hook these up to a computer that reads the beats, and in a small amount of time they can sort of predict what sort of you know, accuracy it's going to have. I assume. I mean, I've seen these machines being used. I'm assuming that's the way it goes, right? And but it's funny because when I brought up the you know, hooking it up to a computer, she really didn't have much to fall back on. So it was kind of like, okay, yeah, all right, moving on. Okay, now let's talk about the bezel insert. All right, so she said something about it having to do with which eye I was looking out of. All right, and not buying it. Told her essentially bullshit. And she disappeared to the back. Came out with a guy with a technician's coat. And essentially for the next 3 minutes or so, he pretended not to see it. Okay, he pretended not to see the problem. Now it's funny because when they came out, it was lined up perfectly, because they had lined it up to where it was sort of riding in between clicks. And you know, it was a nice try on their part, because I likely would have seen it and thought, oh, that's fine. But you know, it's got to, when the bezel falls into the click, that's when it should be lined up, not when it's riding on the click, because otherwise, you know, when you put your hand in your pocket, or you know, you brush the bezel, it's going to fall into a click, and then it's going to be offset. So you know, okay, so I would click it into place, and I would close my eyes when I did it, just to make sure I was feeling right when the bezel was falling to the groove, to the slot. And then I would open my eyes and I would say, okay, see, it's you know, to the left. Okay, then I'd do it again. Okay, see, it's to the right. And then I'd go the other way and do the same thing. And each time he would sort of squint his eyes and suck air through his teeth, and I don't know, just not seeing it. It was almost like, well, I think there are two scenarios. I think he couldn't see it, which in that case, he's not cut out for that job. He's got to be much more aware of these subtleties in a watch if he's working at Rolex. Okay, So I'm not buying that scenario. I think basically he was playing dumb, hoping that I would feel like, yeah, maybe it's just me, or maybe, he can't see it, and so I guess I better just take my watch home. Well, I tell you, man, I was not taking that watch home. I was not. That watch was going to stay there, and it was going to get fixed. So after 3 minutes, I just thought, is this going to go to 5 minutes? Am I going to be, are we going to be talking about this for 10 minutes? So at about the 3 minute mark, I just put down the watch and I said, we're not having this conversation. We're not having this conversation. I look at this watch every day and it is off. And then I think he checked himself and he was like, okay, yeah, this is, we got to fix this. So they got to send it off to Tokyo. I mean, it's kind of funny. He's walking around with a technician jacket, and he can't regulate or fix the bezel. Those are really simple things. They have to send that off to Tokyo. It's going to be gone for 2 weeks. It's been gone about a week, and yeah. Let me tell you about how I felt. Well, if you had asked me a week ago about Rolex, I would have given that service center praises. They were nice, and they did a great job on my no date sub. And when I got back the GMT2, I was happy, and I would still have given them good reviews, but not quite as glowing as after the no date sub, because those two aspects that I mentioned were just a little sloppy, for what I paid for it. $700 basically. But I think what really clinched it was their reaction to it. They thought that they were gonna talk me into taking that watch home, and that's pretty uncool. You're gonna a customer pays $700 for an overhaul. They come in, they've got issues with it, and you're gonna try to play mind games and pretend not to see the issue, and try and convince him that that all is well and that he should fuck off with his Rolex back to where he came. No. I mean, absolutely unacceptable reaction to it. And I'm going to talk to him about it when I go back. I'm going to say, I'm going to have to address this, because would a shyer, less assertive person have taken their watch home? Yeah, likely. And they should be ashamed of sending somebody home that's not 100% satisfied. They should be ashamed. That's not the kind of company that Rolex is and should be. And, will I write a letter to Geneva about it? Not yet, but, I mean, I'm on the verge, meaning if I ever have any more problems, I think I will, because you got to be happy with your Rolex watch. And when you feel like the people in the service center, aren't taking your requests and your idiosyncrasies and your peculiarities seriously, it's maddening, yeah, this is kind of a good reason to have a YouTube channel, so I can call out this kind of bullshit. So, if Rolex ever catches wind of this, Fukuoka branch of their service center, I wasn't happy. I couldn't possibly recommend it as wholeheartedly as I could 2 weeks ago. All right, I feel fucked with in a way, and I had to get nasty a little bit, and I had to bring that element into this sort of relationship I have with them. This was the second Rolex I've had overhauled with them, and I have one being overhauled at the moment. You spend over $2,000, so you'd think that they would not try to convince you that your problems aren't worth addressing and that you should take your whole Rolex home. All right, so yeah, that's a good reason to have a YouTube channel, so I can sort of get that out there. Anyway, it's going to be fine. But yeah, I just wish they had been a little bit. I wish I didn't have to get nasty at all. I wish I could have just told them what the problem was. They could have apologized and taken it off and fixed them, and I'm sorry I have to make a YouTube video about this and about being upset with the service, and the attitude I got. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I got about another week to wait before I get it back, and if the problems aren't addressed, I'm gonna, well, that will be letter writing time, but they would have to be insane not to fix these at this point. Asking for problems is the way I see it, but we'll see how it goes, and I will report back and see if so we'll see if I'm 100% satisfied or not. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoy this nice view behind me. Take care. See you next time.